a statement into the commissioner's report for her.
Okay.
We're good to get started, Miss? Okay, we're good to get started, everybody. You're gonna have to excuse me, I forgot my glasses tonight. So I will do my best to. Okay. All right. Pledge of Allegiance first, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, to the
and to the
republic
republic for which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands, one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty
and
and
justice.
justice for all.
Transition of appointed commissioners. This is going to be fun. Oath of office for newly appointed and reappointed commissioners. Presenter, Anthony Taddy. The oath of office will be administered to Christopher Gertz, pardon me, Christoph.
No worries.
Christoph Gertz, Susan Fix, Andrea Phillips, Anthony Taddy, and Adam Schwartz. So, how do I administer the oath to myself?
I can actually do it to all four at the same time.
Okay, do we need to stand and raise our right hand?
You don't need to stand.
Just raise our right hand?
Raise your right hand. I just don't see that Commissioner Schwartz is connected to audio. So if he doesn't get connected, I'll just do his separately. But we'll just continue.
He's probably at a soccer game or football practice.
I think he's coaching right now too, and he's probably on the move.
Okay, so we'll just proceed. Raise your right hand.
Okay, raise right hand.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Anthony Taddy.
I,
Do
Susan Fix,
solemnly swear
do
Do
solemnly
solemnly
swear
swear
that I will support
that I will
that I will
support
support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the
and the
Constitution and
Constitution
laws
and laws
of the state of Arizona,
of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith
that I
and
will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all
enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the
discharge
duties of the
of
office
the office
of Recreation and Public Grounds Commissioner
of Recreation and Public Grounds
Ground Commissioner
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability.
So help me
So help me God.
Okay,
We did get Commissioner Schwartz in there too.
thank you, everyone.
Sorry, guys. I was waiting for the audio to come on. I didn't realize I had to click a button to hear the audio.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you. It's good to be
Thank
back.
Okay, and I guess we'll just make sure Vice Chair Phillips gets her oath of office when she's here next time, right?
She actually took hers in
Oh.
City Hall a few days ago.
Awesome.
Yep.
Election of officers. Presenter, Anthony Taddy. Discussion and possible action to elect a chairperson and vice chairperson to service the 2021-2022 term. So I imagine if there's a nomination other than myself and Vice Chair Phillips, we would hear it now, discuss it, and then vote on it. Is that?
Yes, so you can elect to continue as chair. If anyone else wants to run or be nominated, then that would be the time. If not, then you just ask for a motion to re-elect yourself as chair and Vice Chair Phillips as vice chair.
Okay. Is there anybody that would like to nominate anyone else for either of the chairperson or vice chairperson? Okay, well, if that's the case,
No need for nomination. You guys were so amazing.
Thank you, thank you. So we would just need a motion, one last chance at discussion, and then a second, and then a vote, right? Okay, so does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion. Go ahead.
I move to re-elect Anthony Taddy as our chairperson and Andrea Phillips as our vice chair of the Recreation and Public Grounds Committee.
I second that.
Okay, this is the last chance for discussion. Does anybody want to discuss any further? All right, do I get to vote? I guess I get to vote, right?
It just has to
Okay.
say aye.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Response to call to the community. There were no requests to speak at the March 11th, 2021 regular meeting. Call to the community. This is the time for citizens who would like to address the commission on any non-agenda item. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to asking staff to review the matter, ask that the matter be put on future agenda, or responding to criticism. Nobody has asked to speak. Commissioners report on current events. Are we already there?
Yep.
Okay. Commissioners report on current events. Does anybody have anything they would like to report on? If you guys give me just 1 minute, there is a really nice note that I'm going to read that Vice Chairperson Andy Phillips sent over to me via email. It's just going to take me a second here to queue it up. So this is from Vice Chair Andy Phillips. I wanted to applaud Pat and Tricia for the huge success of the, and then she says parenthetically, hopefully, first annual cornhole tournament held on March 20th. Everything ran smoothly and participants of all skill levels and ages had a blast. Both the food and the music options were great too. And I'll second that. I had a really good time. And I know that I have to practice with Richard prior to next year's tournament if we have them. I'm going to learn that, Richard, the flick where it spins in the air. But what a great event that was. Thank you guys for putting that on and getting us all out there on a Saturday. Does anybody have anything else for Commissioner's report on current events? Okay. Public Works, monthly report. Presenter Richard Alvarado, Director of Public Works. This report includes updates on the following items: maintenance, currently in progress and or complete. This is information only. Take it away, sir.
All right. Well, good evening, Chairperson Taddy, members of the commission, and to everybody who is present. Basically, the report kind of has what we do on a regular basis with the maintenance, as far as the upkeep of the turf and right-of-ways and the streets. Some of the things that are kind of currently in progress and or completed, those are a couple items I'll go over. I can go over pretty much all of them, and then afterwards we can kind of answer any questions that you guys may have on each of them. All right, so first, the pine trees that were located on the Dysart and Camelback right-of-way, those have been removed. Most of them have been stump grinded. There may be a few that have missed, but nevertheless, the infested trees have been removed. Engineered wood fiber, which is EWF. Our crew has added quite a bit of that, about over 100 cubic yards of that in the Scout playground equipment, Aleppo Park, as well as Turtle Park. If you guys visited some of those parks, they were pretty low on the EWF, creating a lot of trip hazards as you enter and exit the park there. A little bit of an update, the Scout Park Ramada, the repairs have begun. The concrete slab has been poured. The anchors have been installed, which have been provided by Shade and Net. So that work is complete. On a side note, the Ramada has been purchased and is on order. So the Ramada for that playground is scheduled towards the end of May, beginning of June to be installed there. Camelback restroom facilities has reopened. If you guys remember, the restroom was closed due to a collapsed pipe where it was connected. Luckily, we got that fixed and repaired, so that's up and open again for the public. The fountain lights, the Tierra Verde Lake, we have had those replaced. Those lights have been out for quite a while, but we did have them replaced. What we're going through right now is that if you notice, the lights are coming on and off at odd times, not the scheduled times. So we've been working the past couple of weeks with that. It's been a challenge, but hopefully we'll get that here taken care of soon. During our regular watering maintenance with our orange trees in the right-of-ways, you guys may have seen one of our crew members drives a truck and water trailer around, and we manually water the trees. Over the past couple weeks, he has, we have put a fertilizer mixed in, a water soluble fertilizer. So we have fertilized the trees in our right-of-way just to help out in the upcoming summer. Recreation Center, a lot of you visited the cornhole tournament, which Trish and Pat, excellent job on that one. The Recreation Center, the landscape improvements have been complete. Attached are some pictures. I believe you got them in your packet there. And Public Works crew did a great job on that one. And I do have an update on the Turtle Park and Camelback Park amenities. So that one newly came in. Received all the pricing and I guess styles that we've been looking into. That's been an ongoing process as well, but I have received some updated information for you guys as well as on that. And with that, that completes it. So I'm open to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Richard. Does anybody have any questions? Commissioner Fix?
Oh, you're muted.
Okay. I was just more curious. The repairs that were done at Scout Park, was that done under insurance? Was that an insurance claim, or did the city have to pick the tab up for that?
That was done under an insurance claim.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That was all.
You're welcome. Also, the Scout Park Playground, I do have that in here as well. So that's under insurance, and that has been ordered as well. I'm looking to get a hard date on when the materials would come in, and then the repairs to begin on that. But we are looking, 6 to 8 weeks in most of the stuff that we are doing, considering material prices are going up, freight charges, and just labor in general.
So is that 6 or 8 weeks until delivery, Richard, or is that 6 or 8 weeks until it's standing and ready to reopen?
It's 6 to 8 weeks until it's delivered is what we're going on. Now, our rep, who I just spoke to today, I got a couple of questions I'm asking him if, because it's going to take so long, if we are able to remove the top umbrella that is damaged, maybe saw cut it off, put some caps on, so that way we can utilize it, reopen it until we can get the umbrella and the all 4 poles, supporting poles replaced. So as soon as I have an answer on that, council will be updated, and then staff will be updated as well.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Thanks, Richard.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Community and Recreation Services Monthly Report. Presenter, Tricia Kramer, Director of Community and Recreation Services. Information only.
Good evening, Chairman Taddy and Commissioners. It's great to see you all again. I am going to do, same as Richard did, I'll kind of run through the report that was submitted to you all and follow up on a couple updates. And then if you have any questions after that, I'd be happy to address them. Our Recreation Center facility, as Richard mentioned, Public Works did an excellent job improving the landscape and irrigation surrounding the rec center. And you've seen some of the pictures that were submitted as part of Richard's report, and they don't really do it justice. So I would encourage you guys, if you haven't taken a walk around the rec lately, please do. It's coming along very nicely. We're really pleased with it, and we're happy to be collaborating with Public Works on that and other stuff, including Arbor Day. Our preschoolers are going to be doing a tree planting ceremony with Public Works for Arbor Day on April 30th, I believe it is. They'll be out just outside the rec center at the median at, Richard, give me those streets again. Correct me if I'm wrong when I say it. I don't have it.
Streets are Serrano and Desert.
In Desert, yep. There's a little median right there, and there'll be a tree planting ceremony there that morning. So that should be fun. Just another piece of the nice landscaping and upkeep that's going on in and around the rec center. In terms of our community services, you should all have received or shortly receive the new City Line, and hopefully you guys are reading it, enjoying it, and if you have any feedback for us, we do welcome it. The community garage sale is coming up this Saturday, April 10th. As of the report, we had 28 residents participating. We're currently up to 40. So we're excited for that. Last year, as you know, we weren't able to put it on because COVID struck quickly at that point. So we've got a lot of residents that are interested in offloading their treasures to those that really want them. And we're looking forward to that happening in the community this weekend. Also, we are accepting, the city is accepting applications for appropriations funding from nonprofits. So if you work with or know any nonprofits that would benefit or currently benefit the residents of the city, please pass that along to them. The application is online and also at City Hall. And the deadline is fast approaching to submit that. The applications are due next Friday, the 16th. So if you know anyone that we should reach out to or that you'd like to pass on, please do. Aquatics, a couple of big things going on this week with aquatics. The new 360-degree mobility ADA pool lift. The core drilling happened for that just the other day, and next week they will be installing that ADA pool lift so that we can be a little more accessible to those who need that service from us. Also, earlier today, the city was recognized as a Gold Learn to Swim provider by the American Red Cross. They had their annual Training Services Recognition Award ceremony. It was virtual, and we received that recognition. So very proud of our aquatic staff for the work that they're doing to keep that really good relationship with American Red Cross going, and us being a top-notch facility for that training. In terms of preschool, in addition to the collaboration on Arbor Day with Public Works, they are still taking enrollments for the school year, this year, next year, and the summer. We've just added a new preschooler that will be joining us as of tomorrow to this year. And Explorer Summer Camp is coming along. We've got 15 campers enrolled in our June session and 6 for the July session. And we're still at 20 for our next year's enrollment, but we expect that to increase as the weeks progress. Sports, as some of you mentioned, Pat did an excellent job hosting our first ever cornhole tournament. It was fun to have an adult event in the park and to see so many of your faces. And I know Pat can attest to the appreciation we have for you all participating in it and bringing your families out and friends out. And we just had a great time being there and seeing that come to fruition. And Pat and I have been talking about making that an event that happens both in the fall and the spring moving forward. So we will keep you updated and put you all on notice, because I think there's going to be a lot of people coming after Richard and his son too for the great job they did at the tournament. Spring sports season, Pat's on week 3 and everything is flowing well. I think they've got picture day this week at their games, and they're having a good time out there, and it's nice to see so many kids back in action as well. And in terms of special events, we are out of our event season. However, our staff is considering hosting a local event as part of National Kids to Parks Day, which takes place on Saturday, May 15th. And we're in the beginning stages of planning for that. But we will keep you updated if something comes to that. We'd really like to make that happen. And that is the news from our Community and Recreation Services Department. If you have any questions for me or for Pat, we're happy to answer.
I have a
Thank you for
comment.
that.
I just have a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sonny.
I just have a comment. I watched my 4-year-old granddaughter play in her first soccer game in the city league this past weekend, and coaches, everyone does a great job. Thank you, you guys on the commission that actually coach. It's terrific. But it was fun. The uniforms, as far as I'm concerned, are really first class with the soccer this year. I was surprised. I thought we better check Pat's budget, but no, it was really good. And so I enjoyed it. And I attended with Brian. It was his daughter that was playing. And so we had a great time.
Right on. That's awesome. All right. Thank you, Tricia and Pat. Okay, this next item is information action. Meeting schedule. Presenter Anthony Taddy. Discussion and possible action to set the dates and times of the regular meeting schedule for 2021-2022 term. Well, we're coming up on summer, and if I recall, we usually end up not meeting in June and July, or maybe it's just July and August that we don't meet. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sonny.
You could decide that if you like, and then of course there could be a meeting called if something really came up that needed to be on the commission's calendar. But other than that, you are correct. Usually take a little break.
So what we could do is we could still do our email check-in, and if anything is, I mean, obviously we've learned to do this virtually, so I guess not everybody would need to be in Litchfield Park. But if anything does come up that people want to go through and have a meeting for, we could certainly still plan a meeting. Is that what you're saying, Sonny?
No, I'm saying you could actually go ahead and decide that you're not going to have it because you don't want the public to think there's going to be one. And then if something came up that you needed to call a meeting, then you could do that with enough notice. But again, if your desires of the commission is not to meet in July and August, then that's certainly your privilege. And then you also want to confirm your times and days moving forward. Also keep in mind that the city council is considering, I think the commissions would wait until they get the green light from the city council, but eventually they're going to start meeting in person again. But that has not been decided at this time. But I would expect coming into next year, unless something really happens the wrong way with COVID, we're probably going to get back to meeting in person eventually. Is that the information you needed?
They cancel it because there's no content to discuss. I can just post a cancellation for it.
Okay.
That's an option.
So there's a couple of options. Sounds like first we should possibly have a motion to, unless we want to discuss it more, but possibly have a motion to not have meetings in June and July, or pardon me, July and August. And then there's a contingency on that if something does come up that, so long as we were able to give enough notice to the public, we would still have a meeting if there was something, an agenda item that absolutely could not wait until September. So if we have that motion, we can discuss and then move forward with a vote on just that first. And then the second thing would be, Marissa just said, we'd have to have a motion, discussion, vote on, and correct me if I'm wrong, Marissa, the days and times. So right now we meet on the second Thursday of every month. We would either reconfirm that or pick a different day and time. I would just say reconfirm it since we're all here and we've been doing it this way for a while. Would be my vote there. So does anybody want to discuss the first part, or does anybody want to make that first motion? First motion was for July and August.
I'll make a motion that we cancel July and August meetings.
I'll second.
Does anybody want to discuss that further? Okay, all in favor of canceling July and August meetings, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, July and August meetings are then going to be canceled. Now, the next motion would be to affirm our day and time that we meet. So right now, we're the second Thursday of every month at 7 o'clock. That would start next month, Marissa. I suppose that would be our first, meeting. It would just carry over into May and so on and so forth. Does anybody want to discuss that? Okay.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we continue to meet on the second Thursday of each month at 7 p.m.
Awesome.
I'll second.
Does anybody want to discuss? Okay, all in favor of carrying over on the second Thursday of every month at 7 o'clock for our meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, so let it be. So, Marissa, that's it for now, right?
For that item?
Yeah. Okay. So, does anybody have anything else to discuss for that particular item?
There wouldn't be any more.
The meeting schedule, I think that's it. Okay, so moving along, guys. Approval of minutes. Presenter Marissa Romo, Deputy City Clerk. Information action. Take it away, Marissa. She's using that one too.
The minutes are in the packet. Unless anybody has discussion, we'll just take a motion for approval.
Can I get a motion for approval?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Colbreth. Can I get a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Commissioner Faith. Is there any more discussion about last month's minutes? Okay. All in favor of approving last month's minutes, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay. Tree carver request for proposal. This is information and action. Presenter Sunny Colbreth, Management Assistant. Discussion of the tree carver RFP and possible action to suggest staff move forward with obtaining approval from the city attorney. Take it away, Sunny.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Taddy. Actually, I'm not going to discuss the RFP tonight. I did make the changes that were recommended from our last meeting, but in further looking into this, as I was asked to do, we're not ready to move forward with this. It would be premature to send this to the attorney at this time. I sent out some information, or had Marissa send some information to you guys today. Hopefully you got it through the email. There was two things. One was a picture of a carving by Burley Bear Carvers. Did you guys get that? Did people get it?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I,
Okay, and then the second was a liability regarding tall chainsaw sculptures. Did you receive that?
Yep.
yep.
Okay, well, let's discuss, I sent the Burley Bear carving to you, just so you get an idea of what can be done. And in looking at this, there are really, really talented carvers out there. This particular carving was a 15-foot, and the circumference of this is not really that big, as you can see. Our tree that we're looking at right now is 23 feet tall and 117 inches. That's over 9 feet in circumference. And so that's very big. Asking about pricing starts at about $115 a foot. And then it goes up from there, depending on how ornate you want your carving to be. It depends on if the carver has to transport all of his materials a certain distance, and if it's away from their location. Say this guy is in Pine Top. If, for instance, we were to get someone from Pine Top that we selected and they have to come down here, it would probably take several months to actually do the carving and complete it. And they would be looking for compensation for travel and for staying. So this particular one that was done was about $4,000, and it was done in Pine Top. So in talking to Richard today, and he had talked to our arborist that looked at our tree, they were talking that something like what we have could go up to $15,000, even $20,000. One of my recommendations would be that we consider cutting the size of our tree down to about the 10-foot range, because if you read the liability article that I sent, they recommend, because of liability, especially putting it in a public place, that it be no longer or higher than 3 meters. And that's about 9 feet, 5 inches or 10 feet. So that would be the recommendation that I would go. And then secondly, the reason I sent the liability one is there's a lot of liability about knowing if the tree has any kind of disease within. You can carve on a tree and you can carve them green, especially like a pine tree, a soft pine, or you can let them dry out. It's not going to make a whole lot of difference, I've learned. This is an Aleppo pine that we're looking at the lake. But the problem is not knowing if it has any kind of disease within, or if it that we're kind of taking a chance on how it might react after it's been carved for a while. So I'm suggesting that we put this aside till even after summer and get a chance to really look at it thoroughly, and maybe talk to Richard about even getting it cut down to a more manageable size. Those would be my recommendations to the commission tonight. So I'm not going to discuss the RFP again to go through it, because I don't believe we're ready for that. But with this other information, I'm open to discussion on that and to take your questions, because I have talked to quite a few carvers. So if you have
Commissioner
any
Gertz?
questions, I'm open.
Yeah, thanks, Sonny. I'm assuming, and I might be wrong on here, and the Aleppo pine is a softwood. Do we have
Yes.
any idea of what the expected lifetime of a 10-foot carving would be, assuming that the tree is in good condition?
If it's in good condition, all I could get is it could last many years, but eventually it's still going to rot, because it's wood. It's going to eventually rot as long as it still has the roots and all that stuff. Carvings that you see that last a long time in buildings and stuff, they've been cut down and cured and then treated. They're not continuing to get water from the soil and all that stuff going up into the tree. But eventually, the carver said they will eventually rot. It could be 10 years, it could be 15 years, but eventually they'll rot.
Thank you.
I guess, Sonny, when we represent, my question would be, would it be possible to, what is it that you would do would it be possible to find out what is it that we would do to protect the tree from rot outside after the carving? I mean, obviously you don't have to answer now, but are there steps that we could take to do that? And you said a healthy tree versus if something's deteriorating from within, whether it has a disease or an infestation. How would we find out? Again, you don't have to answer now, but how would we find out if it has an infestation or a disease? Because prior to dropping $20,000 on it, I think that would be something we, would want to find out, right?
True, and I'm not saying that it would be $20,000 if we put it down to 10 feet, but it'll be expensive. As far as protecting it, you can protect the outside of the tree, but as long as it's planted and drawing water from the soil, even though it's dead, it has the potential to eventually rot within. And Richard may be able to comment on this further, but we could have his arborist take a look at the tree and discuss that with us further. But that would be my course of action. But what I did learn, that as long as it's planted and drawing water, that it has the potential and a likelihood of eventually rotting inside.
Thank you for that. Richard, did you want to add to that, or?
Well, yeah, to Sonny's point, I mean, with anything, I'm not an arborist, but one thing I do know is the tree, when we took the tree down, the tree wasn't dead. It was just a hazard. And there was so many other kind of things that went along with that. So the trunk, obviously, it's going to take quite a long time for it to dry out, being, you know, as it's a 20-foot tall, you know, 117-inch in diameter. As Tasani said, it'll still pull and draw water. I don't foresee it sprouting, but all we can do is just, I mean, I guess get with our arborists and see, you know, they'll drill and poke into it and see if there's a disease or if there is anything that they can identify with it. But with anything, nothing is guaranteed. For example, on Laguna Bahia, in some of those islands, there is a wood carving that is there in one of those islands. It's kind of like a little small man with a hand kind of showed like this. I'm not sure if you guys ever kind of drove through there, but there's a wood carving that was through there and it looks pretty rotted and beaded. So who knows if the resident had ever taken care of it. There could be options to where you're sealing it constantly, you know, every so often. I'm pretty sure you can take care of it in that sense, but again, we'd have to go into and ask the arborist if there's any disease or anything that they can identify. So.
But again, my recommendation would be to not have this on a future agenda until we get all those answers and bring it back to the commission, which I think would be sometime after, you know, sometime more like September or so.
I agree with you, Sonny, on that one.
Are there any other questions from the commission? Yes, Commissioner Faith.
In the meantime, if we're concerned about the liability of it, should we cut it down to the more manageable size now, or kind of keep that on the back burner as well? I mean, I would pose that if it's I think it's like 20 feet tall right now, is what I heard. And that is very large for any kind of carving anyways. We could probably take it down to the 10-foot range to at least mitigate some of that liability while we're looking into it. And I don't think we'd want to have a carving larger than that. And
That's a question for Richard, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely look into getting it down to a 10-foot manageable size there, for sure. You know, after taking it down to 20 foot, looking at the picture on the screen there, we left it at the 20-foot mark for options for when it come to something like this. And, you know, the original plan was turn a disaster or turn a negative into a positive somehow. And that's where the tree carving came into play. You know, now granted, it does not, I don't think it does have to be a piece, but obviously it's been presented as an option for the community to see, or, you know, our staff, our commissions to see if it would be a good idea. If it really comes down to it and not cost effective, then we can always look at to, you know, kind of just taking it down, taking some roots out and replanting a new tree there. But in the meantime, Mr. Faith, to your point, we can definitely look into getting it down to a more manageable, you know, 10-foot size there.
Plus, if you'll notice in the pictures from the last meeting, part of the tree bark, it looks like about 3 or 4 inches into the tree actually split off when the tree was taken down. You can see that in the upper right-hand corner tree that I put in the last time. So, you know, cutting it somewhere under that's probably going to be around the 10-foot place. And then they can really look at it a lot easier and I think give us a better evaluation too when it's a little bit shorter.
Are there any other questions about that tree? would need a motion to table or we don't need a motion to table it? Or we do need a motion? So I think we're talking about two motions. One would be to cut it down to 10 feet, and the other would be to table the discussion unless perhaps,
I think just, basically what Sunny's saying is just hold off on all of it for now.
so just one motion to table the discussion until we know more. And I guess, Richard, our future action is we'll just wait for you to let us know how it, could be trimmed. Is that what you're thinking, Sunny?
I think you could give staff direction. You don't really give direction, but in other words, you don't mind if it's cut down to 10 feet. That's really not something you have to decide or not. As long as you guys don't say, oh no, please don't do that. As long as you're okay, then Richard can determine when and to do that or not, and what timing with his arborist and the people that cut the trees down.
Can I make a comment? I may not be able to make this comment, but listening to the cost involved to carve the tree, I mean, in the beginning, I was all for this idea, but reading the liability and the what ifs on that document kind of raises the question, do we want to spend $15,000, $20,000 just kind of on a decorative thing? What if we looked at maybe letting the tree go, take the tree down and put some sort of shade structure over that cement bench that's there? Maybe that's money better spent. Just an idea.
Commissioner Gertz?
I'm sort of the same mind, and I'm curious, perhaps Richard, you could answer, in the context of that tree providing a great deal of shade to people that use that area, how far does the same amount of money go in starting us off with nice shade trees?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up a little bit on the back end. I apologize.
Yeah, get a little closer.
1, 2, right in front of you.
Yeah.
The second one.
There we go.
Now you're off.
No, I'm good. Also the same mind as Commissioner Fix on shade's great, and that tree provided a lot of shade, and perhaps we want to consider, if we're spending that amount of money on shade structures, and I was thinking more along the lines of, well, that amount of money, how far does that go in terms of putting trees that will become shade trees in the coming years in that same area?
That amount of money of what we're estimating between 15 and 20,000, that would put quite a lot of trees for shade. I mean, it would. You could go like 10 to 20 trees in there.
Mhm.
Which seems to me like for an unknown length of time that a carving would last versus something that will probably be here in 30 years if we pick the right kind of trees, perhaps
Sure.
a better investment.
I think.
One more comment.
Go ahead, Susan.
So I recall that there's a strange species of a bird, crane, I'm not sure, duck, that sat in those trees, yes?
Yes.
And defecated all over the tree, which caused the tree to turn white, correct?
Yes.
So you really can't sit under a tree and expect shade if that's going to be the case. If we plant, 5, 6 more trees, and we're going to give these birds more of a perch. But perhaps we ask an environmentalist, maybe, if, there's something that would deter them shade structure wise. So if we did put an awning or something over that area, are they just going to sit on that too? I guess is more of my question.
I
And
would.
I know you don't probably know the answer to that, but
No, I would say. Go ahead, Sonny. I see that.
We might be getting way off topic here.
yeah,
Let's
that's
just
my idea.
decide what do you want to do with the tree at this time. And if it's just wait and let us bring back more information about 3 months from now, we could look into some of these ideas that you've brought forth also.
Okay.
I think that's best, Sonny. So for now, nobody's opposed to the trimming of the tree stump down to 3 meters, which is what I think you said earlier. And then we can wait until September for more information to come. And I love the ideas though, guys. Thank you.
Do you need a motion then to table the tree carving
Yes.
request proposal until we have more details from staff over the summer?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table that, that we reconvene and look at this topic after staff has had a chance to look into it further on the tree carving request.
Does anybody want a second?
I second.
Commissioner Gertz, second. Okay, does anybody want to say one more thing about it before we vote? All right, all in favor of tabling the discussion until we receive further information? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? So let it be.
The Beetle reference.
So this next one is playground equipment in the city parks. Presenter Anthony Taddy. Discussion regarding the condition of playground equipment in city parks, especially Staggs Park. So I actually wrote this in for Commissioner Gertz, so I'm gonna kind of turn it over to him on Staggs Park first, and then I guess we could discuss the rest of the parks as we go.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. My request to speak on this originated with, I suppose, two things. One, recalling many years ago, I think it's right before Turtle Park was done, that Staggs Park would be close to up next, if not up next, in terms of equipment renovation. And then a recent visit where I noticed that, especially on the swings, we're essentially missing a ton of bolts, is what it comes down to, and there's some movement in the pipes. Now, I don't think it's at an unsafe level, but I'd like to suggest that, or at least this is information only, so I'm not necessarily putting forward a motion, but that we keep an eye on these parks, on the equipment, and consider that Staggs Park is the oldest of the playground equipment parks, and I wouldn't call it a state of disrepair, but it'll probably get there in the coming years. And that, as we approach what we're going to recommend, that we prioritize that park for the benefit of the citizens that live closest to it. I don't often visit that park, but when I do, I'm struck by the contrast of that versus the quality of the equipment we have in other parts of the city.
Right on. It's not even just for the people that that live on that side of Litchfield Park too, because I know Catherine's softball, my daughter's softball practice are right there, so there's a ton of people that, not even from living right there, but just from being at the softball, are also on and off the equipment all the time too. So certainly consideration. So I guess, go ahead, Richard.
So I know it's on the agenda. Sonny, correct me if I'm wrong or not. I do have some renderings for Staggs Park. I don't know if, Sonny, would I be able to share them? I don't know if we need to.
It's on the agenda.
Okay, it's just information, but, to the point of Staggs being the oldest playground, it is, considering from our record shows it was installed in 1994. So a lot of our parks have been updated, and that one is in need of an update quickly. But our staff has, gone out and has been looking into that for the Ramadas as well as the playground right there to come out with some renderings and some pricing to get that replaced and upgraded along with all of our other parks. That solely is the last one to be replaced. So if you don't mind, Marissa, give me a hand. I have a rendering that we can show. Now, this is just rendering. It's nothing kind of too much. It's just been asked to provide. I'm not sure if I can do this. Is it as easy as just sharing the screen, Marissa? All right, let's see. Can you see that?
No.
No? Then I'm doing something wrong.
Are you connected through your phone for video?
No, I'm actually on the on my computer. So I have my computer and my phone at the same time. So the one, it should show like it has Richard's iPhone and then it has my name. That's my computer there.
The video is coming through your phone. So whatever you're sharing on your computer, you're not connected to video on your computer. We're not gonna be able to see it. Can
Okay,
you
then
email it to me?
you're not gonna be able to see. Okay, let me see what I can do real quick.
If he's already in share mode, we're not able.
Or wait, hold on. I'm sorry. What if I post share? Can you see
There you
that?
go.
All right.
Yep.
Technology. There we go. Okay, can you see this one?
Mhm.
All right, so these
Yeah.
are just, again, what we asked them to do to kind of give us a rendering of what we could potentially do in this park. As you can see, it kind of has the two existing shade structures that are there. And then the swing set kind of still in the position of where it is currently at the park. And this is just one. We asked them to incorporate the city colors from the city logo when doing this. And this is kind of what they came up with here.
Does it look really small for everybody else?
Yeah,
Like the picture or just the playground?
playground.
Yeah.
The whole, to me, I'm just seeing the,
We have.
I'm seeing
Sorry,
three.
Sonny.
There we go. That's better.
Ooh.
The
Sonny,
playground.
when you say small, do you mean in relation to the footprint of the entire playground plan or just on your screen?
I couldn't
I
see
think
the
the
screen. I
playground-
might have had a delay, but I'm not, I can see the bigger picture now, but maybe I had a delay or something.
But the playground equipment looks like much younger age than it accommodates now.
Sure. So this particular playground is for 5 to 12 years old. But I do agree there's really not a lot going on. They do have a couple activities out here. I guess they're like sensory, type for interactive. But this footprint here does seem kind of small. Now, when you open it up, obviously you got a lot of playroom here. But again, that's just one rendering. That's one. I do have another one here. Let me see if I can put that one up. Again, the colors, to me, it looked almost the same after speaking to the rep. But apparently there's a little bit of difference what he had said in these two. Let's see.
Commissioner Gertz?
I'm agreeing with Sonny here. I think if I recall, assuming those awnings are to scale, right, to the playground, that the current structure extends almost from end to end of the awnings, versus this one being about half of about one of the awnings. So I would concur that something that accommodates more kids and maybe slightly bigger kids would be more appropriate as a replacement.
Mhm.
Yep. Again, now this was something we're looking into as a future, improvement. And again, Burke it's a very colorful design. If you notice in some of our other parks, Game Time is a provider there. They're more of a, I guess, older style, you could say. Not so, wide in color, toddler-like, more for, the 5 to 12. And
I've had great feedbacks on the new parks. I mean, the new playgrounds that we've put in over the last couple of years, everybody loves those. So I no opposition to this color scheme. It looks nice as well, but nothing wrong with what we have
Sure.
or have been doing.
And we can definitely look into that one as well. Game time, get some renderings, pick out some playgrounds, and kind of like the same process of what we did with Camelback Park.
So can I ask Richard, is there a time frame in which we're looking at making a move on, clearing out the old equipment and putting in new equipment? Or right now, is it just like kind of still in the thinking through it phases?
Yes, sir. It's kind of on the thinking through. We know it's something that needs to be done, and staff just has to kind of follow all the protocols, make sure we can do something like this in the future. But nevertheless, we are looking into it and trying some ideas. Go ahead, Sonny.
I was asking, when you sat down and went through the capital improvements budget for the next couple of years, is there any money in that budget to refurbish this park, this playground, since it would be the last one that we've done that needs it? Is there anything in CIP?
That discussion still needs to go further.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would encourage.
So for now, we're just going to wait to hear more information in the future on this, Sonny and Richard?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, again, if this was approved and budgeted, then yes, definitely we would bring the renderings and all that information to the committee and get some feedback. See if we're moving in the right direction for the community there.
Well, this is only here for information, but
yes,
if you felt it in your next, you could put it on the agenda for your next meeting, and you actually could bring it forward and recommend that be looked at for replacement as a commission.
Right on. Are there any other questions about the rendering? Okay. Topics for referral to City Council. Discussion of possible topics for referral to City Council. Does anybody have a topic for referral to City Council?
Can I clarify? Would it be appropriate or possible or beneficial for us to recommend to council to consider including this in the CIP, the playground we just discussed? Or are we in the budget cycle where that sort of recommendation to council makes sense from us?
Sonny, did you hear that?
I did. I don't think we've discussed enough when it goes to the council, it would go through this commission first and then maybe present it to the city manager who presents the budget to see if we can get it in CIP. But before it would go to council, they would want to say, well, what have you discussed? What they'd send it back to us is what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, I just meant more from earmarking funds for it without necessarily knowing what the plan would be. But if that's not beneficial to us, then thanks. Never mind.
So I have a question.
Take it away, Commissioner Fix.
Is this something that we could go back to staff and say, or request that they bring us a few more renderings that spatially is better under those awnings, and possibly get a couple bids to refurbish what's there, and then we regroup and decide which way to go, and then then we send it to council as a request.
That's something that could definitely be put on the next agenda.
Okay.
So we'll definitely have that on the May agenda for sure. It sounds like there's some interest and we'll have some more information then, maybe even some more renderings.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. I wasn't even expecting rendering, so I'm pleasantly surprised that we're this far along on it.
Right on.
Yeah, you're welcome. You know, we try to get as much information to you guys as possible. Just helps improve. But going back to Commissioner Fix's remark or about refurbishing, I would just say I would look into replacing the equipment versus refurbishing. Just being 27 years old, and kind of update that last park to meet the same standard or aesthetics as all the other playgrounds that have been installed.
That's pretty darn good though, right? Almost 30 years out of
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's a very popular park too. That's where you take your young ones to play.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any topics for city, for referral to city council? Pardon me. That leaves only one thing left, adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn?
We have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Is there a second? Would anybody like to discuss before? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, we have been adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.